Welcome to Paul's Passive House. All right, let's get our floor leveler in here and take a look. I've got an 8-foot level. This is actually one of the very few items that I purchased new. But I have an 8-foot level here, and I am going to mark the floor. Now, I've actually pre-marked the floor, and you can see the arrows where it shows the dip. Now, if we zoom in here and get a close look, you can see that the high side is on the left, and the dip is about 1/4 of an inch. Now, by putting the level in this position, I'm able to find where the dip starts and where the dip ends. And that's where I've marked the floor. So it gives me a map of the floor. And there you see, that's my dip. I've got a little bump there that drops down. It's not very big, but it's big enough to make this floor wavy. Now, that exact process that I used to figure out where that dip was, I am going to now do that over the entirety of the floor. Now, just to be clear, my goal is not to make this floor level. Level would be complete and total from front to back and side to side. I'm just trying to make it flat. I don't care if it slopes in one direction or another, as long as all the way along that slope, it's flat. And that's a very important distinction to make. Self-leveling flooring is incredibly useful. But if you're going to level an entire floor, you have to buy enough of it to cover the entire floor, and then it does self-level. Now, the leveler that I'm buying is self-leveling, but if I don't install too much of it, I'll still have a slope, and that's okay. Most flooring is rated to be on a slope, as long as that slope is flat. So you can see here, I move the leveler a little bit at a time, marking where the peaks and valleys are of these low and high spots. Now, there is a high spot right by that door, right where the floor meets the wall. It's where I'm facing, basically. There's another high spot where it meets the other wall. And then there's just a few low spots in between. Now, I'm marking out the spaces that I don't really need to worry about and leaving the spaces blank where I need to put in filler. If we take a closer look, you can see I've found parts that are flat and marked them. I've found sections that are dipped down and marked those. And I have put X's and other markings where I need to focus my attention. What this allows me to do is essentially build out a space. Now I have a square footage. You can see there, I'm using my finger to show you this is the space that I'm going to be filling in. And I just take a measurement, whatever it ends up being. I think it ends up being like 3 by 8 or something like that. And then that's how I figure out how much floor leveler I need to buy. So I need 32 square feet of floor leveler at 1/4 inch is my deepest point. Now, I've already done the pour. I did it off camera. If you want to watch me pour floor leveler, you can watch an earlier episode. I have a whole episode of me mixing and pouring floor leveler. But I poured this floor, let it dry, and now it's time to take the level and see how well it filled in that space. Again, I kept the slope. That's why the level isn't perfectly level. But as you can see underneath that level, the slope is now perfectly flat, which is exactly what I was going for. Again, I've got my high point off to the left, and the slope of the floor, it's very subtle, but it slopes very subtly down to the right there, which again is just fine. I'm using an infrared heater in this space, and I'm testing to see what it's heating the surfaces to. An infrared heater doesn't heat air, it heats surfaces in the room. So I'm just testing the surfaces to make sure that everything will be warm enough overnight and this will not freeze. If you'd like a free energy efficiency consultation, please email me at paulspassivehouse@gmail.com.